So one of the first things that we need to think about when we are considering doing engagement around an emerging technology like gene drives is who should be engaged. I was on a study committee with the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine that looked at gene drive research, and we published a report called Gene Drives on the Horizon. And one of the points that we made in our chapter on engagement was that we can think of engagement in terms of concentric circles of people who might be engaged. At the center of the circles are community members, people who have a geographic connection to the field release site or the place where the gene drive is meant to be introduced. At the next level out, we have stakeholders. These are people who may not have a geographic connection to the release, but who have a special interest or kind of expertise that could inform decisions about a release or experiment. And even broader than that is that our publics. These are our audiences, groups of people who aren't exactly stakeholders, aren't community members, but may have a right to have an influence over these kinds of decisions. We can think of publics as being motivated by the democratic impulse of thinking about popular opinion and public interest, having a say in how we govern emerging technologies.
Our model for engagement really places emphasis in the stakeholder and community groups at the field site, in that we believe that they should really be driving the decisions.
We conduct the research. The finding is for the end user. And for that, it's great to involve them in the research at the early stage, even more for the gene drive, because gene drive is complex. And you need to take time to involve the community and to co-develop the research. If you do that, you can improve the acceptance of the finding when you finish the research.
We need to think about engagement as a chance to learn from each other, to understand the kinds of preferences that might differ from communities or stakeholders and experts.
At this phase, we're gathering baseline data and we're conducting mosquito collections at many different sites. We've really worked with them to think about what type of engagement activities should we be doing with the communities? How should we be talking to the communities about who we are and what we're doing, and be seeking some of their knowledge and thoughts about malaria control, malaria transmission, assessing their knowledge and their concerns. It's, again, really important to think about that at an early stage, but also to really work with the local leaders and stakeholders and allow them to really guide the process.
We start to work with the community at the early stage of the research. We start by empowerment, because when you talk about the research, it's something complex. You need to find a good way to explain this research, to explain what you are doing, and give the opportunity to the community to understand and to take part in the research.
One of the metaphors I like to use in thinking about engagement is grasping hands. And by grasping, I don't just mean grasping one another's perspectives or ideas or knowledge, but when you're in someone's grasp, you're actually at risk of being moved. And I think real engagement puts all parties at risk of being moved. You should engage because you want to understand what others think, what their perspectives are, and what they understand that might be different from you. And that should influence our positions and our desires and our perspectives. And so in that sense, we need a kind of humility, even from scientists and experts and professionals when they approach engagement.